JAMB registrar breaks down, admits error in 2025 UTME, apologizes to candidates. Kebbi business owners count losses, demand power restoration amid persistent blockouts. Troops neutralize bandits, seize AK-47 in Taraba raid. On the foreign scene, France expels Algerian diplomat as bilateral tensions mount. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. My name is Idris Layabaturi. The Joint Admission and Matriculation Board JAMB has publicly acknowledged administrative errors during the conduct of the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination UTME, admitting it has negatively impacted the performance of many candidates. At an emotional press briefing in Abuja on Wednesday, JAMB Registrar Professor Ishaq Olowede fought back tears as he issued a public apology and announced a rescheduled exam for 379,997 affected candidates across Lagos and the 5 southeast states. While the registrar refrained from detailing the specific nature of the errors, the development follows weeks of widespread backlash and public outcry after JAMB released statistics showing that over 79% of candidates scored below 200. With less than 1% of over 1.9 million candidates scoring above 300. The outcome sparked lawsuits, petitions, and online protests by concerned parents and students demanding accountability and a review of the result. JAMB has pledged to reinforce its core value to fairness and transparency as it navigates the fallout of this significant exam setback.
Once again, we apologize and assure you that this incident represents a significant setback for the first. We remain committed to emerging stronger in our core values of transparency, fairness, and equity.
Now, in Kebbi, the capital city of Kebbi State has been plunged into darkness as a prolonged power outage has left residents and business owners struggling to cope without electricity for several days. The outage has disrupted life, causing widespread of inconvenience, economic losses, and sparking frustration among citizens and entrepreneurs who are demanding a swift resolution to the crisis that has crippled their activities. The report.
The city of Birnin Kebbi has been grappling with an inconsistent power supply for quite some time. The erratic electricity has become a norm, with power outages occurring on an hourly basis, sometimes lasting for several hours. This has severely affected business owners in the city, who are struggling to cope with the situation. Suraj Dunjuma, a Kebbi State resident, emphasized how the low voltage poses a significant risk to the safety of people, as it can lead to electrical hazards, appliance damage, and even accidents.
It's affecting some of our electronics by the lights rising and coming down, which we'll be able to discover that the light has a problem. The light has a little problem, which the transmission are saying they are working on that light right now. Even the light that are giving to us now is just like maybe they are giving us the lights based on for them to not make the place to be black out completely, otherwise we are getting the light. Maybe when they work in the afternoon towards the night, they will be able to give us the light.
Usman Mohammed, a welder, speaks on how he spends money on fuel due to the inconsistent power supply, which has affected his work and has caused great financial loss.
Our machine, this generator, 7,000 petrol before working with it. Once we are to use gas machine, we have to spend 14,000 before working with it for a day. So now in Birnin Kebbi, there is no light again. Light has point.
Engineer Umar Abubakar Dina, the Regional Technical Manager, Kaduna Electric Distribution Company, Kebbi State, sympathizes with Kebbi State's residents for the power outage as they are working tirelessly with the government to address the situation at hand.
On behalf of the management of Kaduna Electric, Kebbi State here, we sincerely sympathize with the community here in Kebbi State with the recent outage of our services. It happens as a result of the windstorm damage that damaged 3 number towers that's emanate from Kayenji down to Birnin Kebbi. So, federal government, TCN, Transmission Company of Nigeria, they are doing the possible best to ensure that the supply is restored.
Residents of Birnin Kebbi are calling on the government to address the issue of inconsistent power supply, which they believe is hindering the city's economic growth and development. As the temperature rises to 45 degrees Celsius, business owners are also urging the authorities to find a lasting solution to the problem, which would enable them to operate efficiently and effectively. From Birnin Kebbi, Cynthia Yungu, Trust TV.
Now, Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum has strongly condemned the recent spate of attacks by Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists in Maiduguri, Damboa Road, Marti, Chibok, Goza, Kalabalgi, and other affected communities. Governor Zulum expressed his heartfelt sympathy to the family of all victims affected by the tragic incident, which include an improvised explosive device IED attack along the Maiduguri-Damboa Road. The explosion, which occurred on 12 May, claimed the lives of 2 staff members of the Damboa Local Government Education Authority who were en route to Maiduguri to sit for the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria TRCN examination. Several members of the armed forces and innocent civilians have also lost their lives in the recent wave of violence. In a statement by his spokesperson, Dauda Ilia, the governor reaffirmed the state government's unwavering commitment to working closely with the federal government, military, and other security agencies to contain the security challenges. Governor Zulum recalled a recent visit to Goza, where he engaged with military personnel and the Isge community as part of ongoing efforts to reinforce resilience and ensure the protection of lives and property. At least 43 cattle were reportedly shot dead on Wednesday morning in a string of attacks on cattle rearers in the Drug community of Riom local government area, Plateau State. The state chairman of Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, Magban, Ibrahim Babayo, confirmed the incident, stating that gunmen attacked the rearers at 9 a.m. while they were grazing their cattle. The attack follows a similar incident in Gero community of Jos South local government area on Tuesday, where 40 cattle and a herder were allegedly killed, and 3 other herdsmen injured. Babayo further stated that they had informed the GOC3 division of the State Director of Security about the incident, adding that soldiers have been deployed to assess the situation. The leadership of Operation Safe Haven is yet to issue a statement on the attack. Now, in line with the ongoing operational efforts to rid Taraba State of criminal element and restore peace in troubled areas, troops of 6th Brigade Nigerian Army Sector 3 Operation Wild Stroke (OPWS) have recorded a significant success following a recent strategic operational visit by the Commander of 6th Brigade, Brigadier General Kingsley Chidebere, to Bandawa community in Karimila Lamdo local government area. The commander during the visit emphasized the need for increased military presence and proactive operations within the general area. Acting swiftly on this directive, troops on a fighting patrol along the Bandawa-Karimi Lamidu road made contact with suspected bandits attempting to disrupt the peace of the area. In a brief but fierce encounter, troops engaged the criminals, neutralizing one of the bandits and successfully recovering 1 AK-47 rifle and 39 rounds of 7.63mm special ammunition. The operation is a testament to the brigade's commitment to safeguarding lives and property and ensuring that criminal elements find no safe haven within Taraba State. Now, the Senate has commenced moves to pass the Federal Capital Territory FCT 2025 budget of 1.8 trillion naira. On Wednesday, the Senate leader, Opeyemi Bamidele, led the debate on the bill after the Senate President Godswill Akpabio read the letter urging the Senate to pass the budget. The report.
Sum of 1,783,708,392 naira only.
After the debate, senators unanimously passed the bill for second reading and thereafter referred it to the Senate Committee on FCT to revert in 1 week.
We have seen the revolutionary infrastructure taking place, and all we need to do as the State House of Assembly of the FCT is to keep on tracking revenues and the utilization of those revenues. You need budgetary support to sustain the infrastructural development that we have seen. And I am also aware, going around, that areas that have been neglected in the past, where the natives or low density areas, the current minister is extending infrastructure to those areas. The last point I want to make about illegal settlement, I've always told Mr. President that when you travel around the other countries, you have high profile buildings, you have low profile buildings. When people talk of Soweto, I used to think that Soweto was one slum, but I found that that is where Mandela lived, two bedrooms, but the area is well paved, allocation of the land is given, and so on. I think the poor can be accommodated with correct infrastructure.
Worrying me, which is the high cost of land in the FCT. Lands have become so exorbitant. And last year, when we debated the bill, I pointed out that the only way we can bring high cost of land down is by opening up new areas. Abuja is planned in a concentric circle. From the center, we develop outwards. There are so many layouts in Abuja that have been allocated to individuals, but infrastructures are not be provided those places.
The bill, according to the Senate, seeks to, among other things, address infrastructure development and job creation, as well as other critical sectors like education, health, agriculture, and so on.
A bill for an act to authorize the issue from the Federal Capital Territory Administration's Statutory Revenue Fund of the Federal Capital Territory Administration account, the total sum of 1,783,823,392 naira only for the financial year commencing from 1st day of January and ending on the 31st day of December 2025. Second reading read.
A breakdown of the bill shows that 150 billion naira is for personnel cost, 343 billion naira is earmarked for overhead cost, while the balance of 1.28 trillion naira is for capital projects.
Now, residents of the nation's capital, the FCT, have been speaking on the role of their representatives at the national and state assemblies and how these functions translate to good governance. Trust TV's Neil Samson, who engaged the residents, report that most of them neither know the names of their representatives nor the functions they perform. The reports.
The legislature is the most significant link between the government and the governed. It is the institution charged with articulating and addressing the grievances of the people. These cardinal rules make lawmakers a significant part of a representative government. However, over time, many have come to the conclusion that these legislatures do not serve the interests of the people, but theirs alone. Hence, we hit the streets of Abuja to find out how true this is among residents. Across the streets of Abuja, the majority of Nigerians we interviewed do not know their representative either at the state or national assemblies respectively. The same applies to the duties of these legislatures, as their constituents displayed total ignorance of their functions let alone passing the performance verdict. As a result of this lack of information, many were not willing to speak on camera. However, we managed to get a few.
Yes, I know the senator representing my constituency in Niger State. It was the former governor I know, who is Umar Bago, that was the former House of Reps. Yes, I know. To my best of knowledge, the former governor, which is Umar Bago, was the one representing in the federal, and while during his tenure, even the devil can testify he worked.
I don't think they are doing anything for us. They are just there, just passing out time, nothing. Nothing is being done.
Really, you know the situation of the country right now. You understand? Everything is being politicized. You understand? That is why they cannot function in a way whereby the electorate will be happy.
Ismail Okoyemi is a political scientist. He spoke on the core functions of the legislature against the popular opinions Nigerians have about their functions.
So basically, the responsibility of legislator is just three. We have the lawmaking responsibility, we have the oversight responsibility, and we have the representation responsibility. And if you look at it from these tripartite functions, you realize that any lawmaker should actually be assessed based on these three items I've listed. Anything outside that is just an addendum, or let's just say goodwill of the legislator.
He also spoke on how faithful these representatives are in discharging those responsibilities, as well as basic knowledge of these duties among their constituents.
If you go to the National Assembly today, or our State House of Assembly, and you try to evaluate the performance of legislators, you see that some of them have not even present one particular bill proposal for lawmaking. Some of them don't even have a bill that we can attribute to them as one of their product of their legislative functions. I will tell you for a fact that no, a lot of citizens don't even know that lawmakers are actually there to represent them. Knowledge, awareness, sensitization, and awareness. We all need to sensitize ourselves.
According to recent Gallup polls, 74% of Americans disapprove of the job that their Congress is doing, adding that this has basically been the average disapproval rating over the years. This is also applicable to Nigerians too, with many saying this is a wake-up call for both the federal and state legislature to step up their game. Wow, Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
This is the news update on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Stakeholders demand urgent action on gender gaps in girl-child education. More news when we return. Don't go away.
This is Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is the news update on Trust TV. Let's take a look at some of our top stories. JAMB registrar breaks down, admits error in 2025 UTME, apologizes to candidate. And Kebbi business owners count losses, demand power restoration amid persistent blackouts. Now moving on to more stories, parents and other stakeholders in the education sector have been called upon to give more priority to girl-child education as well as gender-related values. These, many believe, will boost girl-child enrollment in schools and also boost their academic performance and overall upbringing. A sexual and repetitive health specialist with the UNFPA made the call while speaking with Trust TV in Abuja. Kabir Lawal has more.
Nigeria, with an estimated population of 206 million, has approximately 14 million out-of-school children, making it the highest number in the world, with girls making up 60% of this number. Education is recognized as a fundamental human right, which makes gender inequality in education a huge concern. One of the most significant tools to empower girls within their family and community is education. This is why Amira Wilye, sexual and reproductive health analyst, stresses the need for parents and guardians to teach their wards the importance of gender inequality and make it a priority to give girl-child access to education in order to close the disparity between them and the opposite sex.
What we try to do is to accentuate what the societal perception norms about the woman and the girl child, and to educate the population and the country about the importance of gender equality.
Tovia Mo, the Programs Officer and Gender, ICF, said gender inequality and traditional practices which create such disparities should be discouraged at all levels of education, adding that traditional gender roles and beliefs about girls' role are a major hindrance to their education.
From dropping out of school, she might not go back, like I had mentioned earlier, and from that, she wouldn't be opportune to get any good jobs in the future. She might end up doing some of these menial jobs, and that kind of traps her and her family in a circle of, poverty. She's not able to do anything for herself. She would probably have to be dependent on someone.
Hadiza Aliu, a school administrator, said early marriage and teenage pregnancy tend to interrupt girls' education and limit their future prospects, adding that the importance of physical hygiene will go a long way to make them contribute their quota to nation building.
Our mentality mostly in Africa is that men can do most things, while women are just to sit at home and just cook, give birth, and also take care of the children. So I encourage parents to take their girl child to school so that they'll be able to speak up for themselves and take care of themselves too.
Girls from various public schools in the FCT encourage other girls to take their studies seriously to ensure that they become good ambassadors of the country.
Always remember that as a girl, you should always take care of your body.
As a girl, don't ever look down on yourself and don't ever compare yourself.
Stakeholders in the education sector want government to ensure the initiatives are put in place to address educational disparities and improve access for girls. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abu.
Now, telecommunications operators and consumer rights groups have strongly opposed the controversial 5% excise tax on telecom services reintroduced in the recently passed Nigerian Tax Bill 2024. The Senate passed the bill on May 8, 2025, reviving the excise tax first introduced in the Finance Act of 2020 during the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has suspended the tax in July 2023, citing concerns that it could exacerbate inflation and hinder access to digital services, especially for low-income Nigerians. The 2020 Finance Act had expanded the list of goods and services subject to excise duty, including telecom services. However, the measure drew immediate and widespread criticism from telecom operators and consumer advocacy groups, who argued that the additional costs would burden citizens and increase the price of essential services in an already fragile economy. As contained in the 2022 Finance Act, the tax is chargeable on all services regulated by the Nigerian Telecommunications Commission (NCC), listed as postpaid and prepaid services at this rate of 5% for 2022, 2023, and 2024. Now, as part of the effort to curb crude oil theft and illegal bunkering, operatives of the Nigerian Navy ship Pathfinder have destroyed 9 illegal refining sites housing 175,000 liters of stolen crude product in Ogba Igbema, Ndoni local government area of Rivers State. Commander of Nigerian Navy ship Pathfinder, Commodore Kajithan Anyaku, who disclosed this in a statement in Port Harcourt on Tuesday, stated that the destroyed site had 45 ovens, 30 reservoirs, and 75 dugout pits containing approximately 60,000 liters of suspected stolen crude oil, 80,000 liters of suspected illegally refined automotive gas oil, and 33,000 liters of kerosene. Anyaku, who listed some of the products discovered at the site to include crude oil, automotive gas oil, also known as diesel, and kerosene, said the destruction took place during an operation in the area on May 12. He said the NNS Pathfinder Tactical Riverine Assault Squadron team also uncovered 2 wellheads technically connected with pipes used oil thieves to siphon crude oil to their camps. He lauded the personnel of the force for their bravery, stating that the Nigerian Navy, under the leadership of the Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, remains committed to combating crude oil theft and illegal bunkering, which has continued to pose significant threat to the nation's economy and energy security. And away from Nigeria, France has expelled several Algerian officials holding diplomatic passports without visas in a retaliatory move following Algeria's recent expulsion of 15 French diplomatic agents. The French Foreign Ministry summoned Algeria's charge d'affaires to convey the decision, emphasizing that France reserves the right to take additional measures depending on how the situation evolves. This tit-for-tat exchange marks a significant deterioration in relations between the two countries, which have been historically complex due to their colonial past. Tensions escalated last year when French President Emmanuel Macron expressed support for Morocco in the Western Sahara dispute, angering Algeria, although there was a brief involvement in relations following a visit to Algiers by French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot. The reciprocal explosions have reignited tension. And this is how we end up Trust News updates on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms and also watch us live on YouTube for more news, programs, and documentaries. My name is Idris Layebatura, thanking you for being with us. Goodbye for now.